Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for the no audio. I didn't have that one on there. Welcome to the Trader Merlin Show for your Monday edition. As you know, I took a bit of a hiatus. I took a little bit of a 2-day break, went up to Las Vegas, and I went to go see the Eagles at the Sphere. If you have not seen the Eagles play yet, you should definitely go see them at the Sphere. Honestly, go see anybody at the Sphere. Go see Andrea Bocelli, Snoop Dogg, anyone. It will completely change the way that you view music and just the visual components of it. It takes music, listening, and appreciation to a whole nother level. And let's be honest, the Eagles are old, man. These are just duffers. 52 years they've been playing together. A few members left. And it was a short show. It was only 2 hours. I'm used to a little bit longer than that. But, hey, these guys put on a great performance. And even when somebody like Glenn Fry, who passed away, his son stepped up, Deacon Fry, and did an amazing job. So anyway, there's my plug. I don't have any pictures of it or videos. I haven't downloaded them from my phone, but I will, if you want, I can show you some of those as well. But I just encourage you all to go check out a show at the Sphere. Find anybody. It was pretty much amazing. Liz, I have my microphone muted. I was typing something. I didn't want you guys to hear my keystroke, so it was me. My fault on the sound today. Monday morning jitters. All right. A decent day. I didn't have a chance to day trade. I did sell a bunch of puts today on Rivian and calls against my positions on Rivian. Out of that list I had of securities, let me bring it up for you here just before we dive into the questions that came in. This was the list I think I gave you guys a week ago, or not last Friday, but the Friday before. All of these have expired worthless except the Boeing. Boeing is still open and working, looking fine. It was a nice day today. And then the Rivian here, as you know, we closed under $12. So I was put those shares, sold calls against that today on Rivian. At $12 strike price, so, right at the price I was executed at. That way, I keep collecting that premium over and over again. And I did sell the 1150 strikes today. I sold puts at the 1150, expiring this week for 20 cents. So, about a 1.5% rate of return for the week to get those puts, the Rivian at 1150. And given all the partnerships and kind of Amazon and Volkswagen partnering up with them, I'm feeling more and more comfortable about owning Rivian longer term. So still jumping on that one. So that's the only new trades I put on today. I'll have a little more time tomorrow morning to do some day trades, and hopefully I can share that with you as well. Yeah, Lisa missed a few days. I missed them as well. It was funny because remember we talked about on Thursday's session how it was setting up to be a great short day. And this is why I'm so adamant that you can't hang on your hat on any opinion. Let's go and I'll show you kind of what the last few days look like. Obviously, you guys know because you're all active traders, or most of you are active traders. Here is what Wednesday closed like, right? To me, that was nice. I mean, it looked great, ready for a short opportunity. Then all of a sudden the next day, we gapped up. And it was actually going up in the after-hours session on Wednesday night. So, going into the morning on Thursday, it already gapped up significantly. So I had this real strong opinion that we were going to have a big down day on Thursday. Exact opposite. So no sweat to me. It was fine. And here we are with these kind of, I think, according to Steve Nissen, what he calls these the three wise men or three lonely stars, something like that. We have these spinning tops. This is the SPY here, not the futures. Just the typical ETF. And you can see that we've got a lot of indecision. I mean, the last three sessions, Thursday, Friday, and today, not a lot of real strong direction for the market overall. Now, granted, there was some stuff that had some great moves out there today, but not a lot of clear direction today. Actually, very narrow, compressed range, even though you did have a decent day, up 0.25% for the S&P. Not all-time highs, but getting close. But, that was your scenario. And again, I was kind of happy I was in Vegas because I would have been really inclined when we gapped up to have shorted that day as well. And I think I would have been chopped around a bit here if I'd been actively day trading these last 3 days. Margaret, what'd you say? Christopher says, do you sell calls and puts naked, or do you sell spreads? I don't typically do spreads. So I'm long Rivian right now. So I'm selling calls against that. So I'm doing covered calls there. And then I also I'd like to own some more Rivian, so I sold the 1150. So I guess it's a hybrid spread that I'm making up on my own, but not doing them as one transaction as a spread. I'm doing them as individual transactions. So I'm a cash secured put on one side of it, and I'm a covered call on the other side of that position on Rivian. Yeah, natural gas did steal the day. I'd like to know more about why that happened. Yeah. By the way, tomorrow, just so you guys know, John Rowland of Bar Chart will be on the program. And on Wednesday, I'm going to have Tom Schneider of Ninja Trader on the program. He's a CMT. I think John Rowland's a CMT as well. So we have technical analysis royalty on the programs the next 2 days. So I'm excited about that one. So set a reminder there. And if you got, it's John's been on the program many times, so I kind of want to get his analysis of just broader markets. If there's something specific that you want me to ask John Rowland on the show tomorrow, you can always email me at TraderMerlin@gmail.com, or you can put it down below any of the YouTube channel, and I will get those questions as I gathered some for today's show. And then Tom Schneider, since it's his first time on the program, we'll do a little bit of this type of stuff, get a little idea of who he is, what he does, and his style, his outlook on the markets, etc. But they have a great program over at Ninja Trader. Jim Cagnina and Tom Schneider and their production team do a really good job. It's kind of where I would like this show to be at some point if I had a full production team to run all aspects of the show. But alas, it's just me, myself, and I. All right, let's go into my first question here, and then I'll go to broader markets. Let me see, where did I got to go back to my slides. Didn't have a lot of time to prepare for you today. This is a bit of a different topic I haven't really addressed with you guys, and I know it's not really specifically stock market related, but it was a great question that came in on the YouTube channel, and I want to get to this one because a lot of people ask me, and I'm sure many of you thought about it. Actually, let me do just a quick quiz for everybody who's watching today. How many of you have heard about how much money you can make mining cryptocurrency and have thought, I'm going to look into mining cryptocurrencies and maybe generate a bunch of money that way? Yes or no? That you thought about potentially getting into cryptocurrency and mining it from your home and earning some money that way? Just kind of curious what you guys think as a yes or no factor on that one. So here is the question that came in today. Or actually, not today. It was a couple days ago on the YouTube channel. And he says, would you mind please briefly going over home mining for Bitcoin, thinking of dipping my toe in the water with the Nerd Miner V2 or something similar, low budget, and would love to know your opinion of these kinds of things. Okay. So Johnny says, yep. Everybody else saying no on the mining front. Interesting. When I got started, Liz says, heck no, it costs a boatload to generate one Bitcoin, if you can even get one Bitcoin. And everybody else says no. So I'm going to help a lot of you out here. Yeah, Joe's correct. Joe says back in 2016, not anymore. And Chris says, I'd rather buy Bitcoin. At the end of this, I'll come to my conclusion for you. But I want to just, this is from Spy Roth. He had a long name, but I couldn't figure it all out. But Spy Roth was the guy. So here is the gist of it. First one, he mentioned something called a Nerd Miner 2. So as Liz points out, heck no, it costs a boatload to generate one Bitcoin. It's a lot of money to get started. Now, you can do it in many different ways. You could do something like this Nerd Miner, which is simply a little USB device you plug into your home computer and you let it run. Those are like $40. So you're like, oh, that doesn't cost a lot of money. Yeah, but it doesn't have a lot of computational power. I looked up the Nerd Miner here. Let me bring it up for you just so you guys can see it. So here's the Nerd Miner. And look, it's just this little box. You just plug it into your computer via USB or Wi-Fi, and it will now start mining cryptocurrency for you. And I hate this, what they're doing here. If you look at the screen, it says, solo lottery miner wins 6.25 Bitcoin with low power consumption. It creates the illusion that you're going to get 6.25 Bitcoin. And by the way, this is no longer the right number. It's 3.125 because this has been cut in half. It's the halving. So these things come in a 50 pack, by the way. Like one was bad enough, you need to buy 50 of them. But essentially what they're saying is you buy them and you plug in to your computer this little device and it's going to get you Bitcoin. So let me just show you real quick what it does. So you can see here it says 78 kilohash, at least 78 kilohash, and it uses 1 watt of power. So these are the factors you have to think about as a miner. There's two major things. Number one is how much energy this device uses, and then how many computations does this one do. So I'll go over here to a thing where I can calculate out the calculate out how many Bitcoin you can earn. So right here, let me make this bigger for you all to see it, huh? This miner uses 1 watt of power, and you can see right here, power 1 watt. My electricity here in Southern California is on the cheap end, I'm looking at about 33 cents, okay? And then to access the mining pool, you have 1% fee going to them. So what about the hashing power? How much does it? So this said 78 kilohash. So I type in 78 kilohash, I hit enter, and basically what it tells you now is under no circumstances are you going to make any money. You're going to lose every single day that you have this, every second that this device is running, you'll be losing money. Now, on the odd chance that you may potentially get this, you would, it's not going to happen. There's just no way. So let's go out here and look at, let's go look at the Bitcoin hashing power right now and see how much hashing power is being used by Bitcoin. This is the total computational power of the entire network. And as you can see right here, that's this blue line, which has been jigging back and forth. We've dropped recently. But right now we're looking at 638 million terahash. Okay, so let's go see what that might be. Let's go out here. I'm going to bring up a calculator just to show you. So this thing is doing 78 kilohash, which is going to be 0.78 terahash. All right, times that by, actually divide it by 1,000. So it's 0.078 terahash. That's how much computation this device that you could buy for $49 on Amazon does. And the entire computational power of the Bitcoin network, as we speak right now, I just had it on the screen. I will type it in here for you guys so you can have it. 635 728 607, and we're going to add, that's in terahash, so there we got it. Okay, so I hit enter, and basically your odds of solving a block, of earning Bitcoin on this are about 10 times worse, maybe even more than that, of winning the lottery. So you're much better actually going and doing the lottery, buying a lotto ticket. Kenny says you can do it as a lotto ticket. Yeah, you're better off buying a lotto ticket. You have a better chance of solving a block and getting some Bitcoin that way. There's no circumstance where you will earn a penny on this. It's just mathematically impossible. And even if you had the cheapest electricity in the United States. Now, I'll bring this one up real quick just so we can see it. Let's see, cheapest electricity in the U.S. Cheapest electricity in the U.S. right now, it says North Dakota, 11 cents a kilowatt hour. Trust Google, right? All right, so there you go. 11 cents a kilowatt hour. If I add that in here to this table and say 11 cents, notice it's still going to cost me, I'm still going to lose money. Every single day I will lose money. So right away, you can see that this fishy device that Amazon is selling you, and it sounds so great. Lottery miners, yeah, because winning it, you're literally like winning a lottery, and your odds are actually worse than winning a lottery. So don't waste your money. Don't buy these things. They're not going to get you anything. They're a complete waste of time. Does this sell with a money-back guarantee? Yeah, right, Les. I doubt that. I'm pretty sure these are just straight preying off of people that just haven't run the numbers. And I think you'd all agree that as people who trade, and I know we've got a bunch of different types of traders here, you've got to go into trading, know the risks, know the systems and tools that you're using so you can put the odds in your favor. This right here is trying to prey off people that just aren't doing the numbers, that just don't run the numbers. Now, in reality, you're going to be competing against this little device right here, this stupid little thing that looks like somebody 3D printed and has just basically an Arduino circuit board or a Raspberry Pi circuit board in there. This thing's not going to do anything. But what if you bought something like this, right? This is the big stuff. Hey, Elaine, long time. Hope you're doing well. This Antminer is what most of the big institutions are using. So you look at Riot Blockchain, Hut 8. They have actually probably newer versions than this that are more efficient. But you remember the last one did 78 kilohash. This does 120 terahash. So this thing is over 1,000 times more powerful. It does more computation, which would increase your probability significantly of solving a block and actually earning Bitcoin. But notice it also uses 2,700 watts. So what if you had that? What if you're using a real legitimate device? All right, let's refresh this because it's trying to get me to sign up for stuff. I'll go here and change this to terahash. And we're going to add, 120 terahash. And the power consumption was 2,760. And even with this great device, which, most institutional platforms are using, even at the cheapest electricity in the country, you would still be losing money. So my end result here for the individual, Spyroth, who was asking about this one, is going to be what Chris Collins 327. I thought it'd be 454 by now, Chris. Is a 327 your favorite engine? I thought it'd be a 350 or a big block. So anyway, Chris Collins 327 says, I'd rather buy Bitcoin. You are far better off taking your money and just buying Bitcoin. I came to this realization in 2017, even when mining was actually somewhat cheaper and easier to use. You could, the difficulty back in 2017, let me show you the, I already deleted it, so never mind. I was gonna look at the mining difficulty. There you go. Let's go back to 2017. And you can see back here in 2017, look how easy it was. Like the mining difficulty was super low. Had I had a brain, I probably would have jumped full bore on it back then, but it was still difficult because the technology, the miners, the devices that I just showed you, this ASIC miner and this nerd thing, nerd miner, they just didn't have the power. There wasn't enough computation. So even back then, it was cost prohibitive for me to try to mine Bitcoin. I actually have a room in my house that's all set up, and I was just about to start buying miners and racks of it there. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, there are some cryptocurrencies that you can buy, Ravencoin in particular, that apparently you can make pretty okay money mining other cryptocurrencies. But Bitcoin is not one of them. It's gotten to the level where there's so much institutional involvement and so much big money that you can see here on the chart. Look, imagine how easy it was to mine Bitcoin back in January of 2009. There was no hashing power. I could have done this with a standard computer and been solving every block because no one was mining in 2009. And then all of a sudden we started to increase. More people heard about it. I mean, even if you were mining in 2014, it was epic. I mean, you would have been making so much money. But notice how we've gone parabolic, this blue line representing computation power of the network. That means more and more miners are coming on board, and not with these stupid nerd miners that don't do anything. They're using monstrous computers that are, and hundreds of thousands of them, like Costco warehouses. So, Spyroth, I love the question. I like the idea of it. That, hey, maybe I'll try mining crypto. I'm telling you, there's almost no way that you're going to make money mining Bitcoin. Now, as you see, Tofi here says, can't you mine some other crypto instead of Bitcoin? Yes, and I would encourage you, if you are interested, go and check out sites like this. You can actually go through here. This is Crypto Compare, but you can see here's Ethereum Classic. You've got Monero, Zcash, Dash, Litecoin, Caspa. You can go in here and type in, under different circumstances, how your mining equipment would equate to money coming into you. It's very rare to find, for me anyway, because my electricity costs are so expensive down here in Southern California, it just never made sense. And remember, you have to consider that these equipment typically are going to be very hot. It generates a tremendous amount of heat. Now that little nerd miner V2, probably not much. But if you're using that ant miner I just showed you, this big unit here, this thing is generating some serious heat. So now I have to get it AC powered as well. I need to factor that into the cost, as well as the setup, the wires, the connectivity. It just didn't make any sense whatsoever for me at any level to buy one of these Bitcoin miners. So mind you, they're not cheap. They're $1,600, $1,700. Plus you're probably paying all kinds of other stuff, shipping. So there you go, Spyroth. That's my quick answer to your question. Actually, not quick, kind of long-winded question, or answer to your question, but yeah, I thought it'd be great, and it's just a windfall. When I got started really active in 2017, it certainly was a lot easier to mine. Now it's almost impossible to mine and actually make money as a miner. Where does Bitcoin have to get to break even in your example? I don't know if it will actually show me that one. So if you go here, go to Bitcoin. This is calculated. I can't change this number, so it's off of just current price. And for me to get in my area, let's go 33 cents per kilowatt hour. I mean, if I ran that device as is, I'd be losing $500 a month just on one device. Oops, sorry about that. I'm not signing up for that service. So, VB, there's other sites where you can change the price of Bitcoin, which will tell you, okay, if it gets to 80,000, do I actually start making money? The other way you could do it is, you change these variables. You find something that obviously uses less power or gives you more hashing. And even if I found something that was double the hashing power, I'm still losing. This device here, where it's killing me, is on energy consumption, right? It's 2,700 watts. Even if I went to Nebraska and got 11 cents, now I'd be making some money. But remember, this device doesn't do 240 terahash per second. It only does 120. So even if this doubled, I'd still only make $77 a month, and this device costs $1,700. It would take me, a couple of years just to pay this thing back. And by then, technology's changed. So why bother, right? Mine while riding your Peloton. Now, that would be interesting, John, if you used your pedal power to generate some electricity. That would be a good one. I like that idea. I just don't know how much you can do. Tofi says you can get solar and run it during the day. So I can't remember the gentleman's name. We can go back. Tom Barr, who I think has bailed. He stopped watching the program. Tom recommended a guy who's a friend of his, really nice guy, and he sets up solar installations for mining cryptocurrency. So now you've dropped your energy costs per kilowatt hour significantly lower, essentially zero. Now, of course, if I could do that and get let's go back to the normal power for this miner, 120 terahash. If I could get my energy cost down to, let's say, 4 cents a kilowatt hour, that's 40, I'd be making money. So yes, if you had solar, it may actually really, you probably could get it going. Now remember, your solar cost you $30,000 to put in. So, that's a consideration as well, as the cost of your solar. Yeah, you can write some of it off, I get that, but with mobile, your cell phone can provide coverage and it pays your cell bill and then some. What are you talking about there, Josh? Good to see you, Josh. You mean the crypto mobile? So are you talking mobile, or are you talking about oh man, I just totally drew a blank. There was a really hot one that you could actually get a miner for the outside of your house, and for some reason I cannot think of the name of the project right now. Oh man, drive me nuts. There was other devices that you could mine, and that's questions come up. You can mine other stuff, but what happens is it's like an oscilloscope. Right? As one crypto gets popular and there's money to be made as a miner in that, people will shut down on one cryptocurrency, move their mining over to that one so they can make money, and all of a sudden it becomes not profitable again. So that was mobile coin, but before was mobile coin, it was called, I don't know why, I just cannot draw a blank. All right, drawing a blank on that one. Helium. There you go. Thank you. HNT. Thanks, Josh. Yeah. HNT was another interesting one. You could mine, but that was a little bit different. You have to buy the mining equipment, which is similar, but you had to go through specific vendors to do it. Yeah, Helium. That's it. Thanks, Josh. For some reason, I could not think of the Helium network, which is an interesting project, and we won't dive into that one, but I liked Helium as well. I think there's certainly some opportunity there. But the point I'm trying to make here for Spyroth is the odds are it's not going to make you money. If you buy these devices for $40 or $50, they're probably not going to work. Your odds of solving a block using these are almost zero. As close to zero as you could get. I mean, it's exponentially small chance of you solving this one. And again, you're better off spending that $50 here after shipping and buying yourself a lottery ticket and hopefully winning that way. That's the truth of the matter. All right. Hold on. I had a wrong screen. I had another quick one. It's worked out great. So, you're currently mining the mobile coin? I'm curious because I know it was pretty volatile for quite a while, and I know a lot of people that were doing it were frustrated because just the returns weren't there because the value dropped so much. Let's go to I'm going to go to Coin Market Cap real quick just to look at that one, and I'll go to some other questions and we'll talk broader markets. Let's go to mobile, Helium Mobile. So I'm just going to go all time here. Yeah, so you're earning, but the value of that thing just keeps on dropping and dropping and dropping. I remember we talked about this in our class back here in 2023. We had this huge surge up. It was awesome, and then kind of slowly going down. Hey, as long as you're still earning, what I like about this Helium network, Josh, is you're actually part of a community of people that are trying to change the system, right? You're no longer subject to the typical telecommunications carriers. You can maybe do our own Wi-Fi and broadband pieces with it, and they had a pretty interesting roadmap for Helium. I have not followed that project much in a while. Price is low now, but you got many rewards as it worked out great. Cool. I'm glad it's working for you, and I hope it surges again. You know, I know that they did, what was it, T-Mobile, I think, bought into their network as well and is using their architecture or infrastructure to bolster their telecommunications network. And it may happen that other phone companies do that one as well. So it's a very interesting project, which we could spend a lot of time on. Yep, definitely a great project. All right, what other questions? I had a few that came through, and if you guys have some, send them on in. This one I got about a week ago, and I just haven't answered. I feel like I've answered this one in the past, but I'll do it again. Lizzie says, if you could give a new trader one piece of advice, what would it be? It's hard to give just one. I want to give like 5 or 10 different pieces of advice, and I would say, I'll give multiple here, Lizzie, because I can't just give one. Number one, or number one would be always have a plan in place. Like, doesn't matter what you're buying, selling, transacting, stocks, options, futures, a house, a car, a new job, have a plan in place. Like, here's how I'm going to approach this. Here's how much I'm going to risk. Here's my reward potential. And if the probability looks slim that reward potential is going to work out for the amount of risk you're going to give, then move on to something else. To me, that's number one, have a plan. 1.2 is going to be what Lori just says, risk management. And I think that ties back to number one is risk management. Always know how much you're going to risk. Every situation you get into, you got to know, here's my max risk. And if I put stop losses in place or control it with share size, I can adjust that level of risk that fits me. Unfortunately, too many people get started in trading, take way too big a risk, they lose all their money, and next thing you know, they're pissed off and they're yelling and they're screaming that trading sucks and it's hard and they lost all their money, when really it's kind of on them because they didn't have any risk management tools in place. And saying risk management tools is not one-dimensional. It's multifaceted. There's so many different things we can do from a risk management perspective. I have a unique approach as well, which it's taken me a long time to get there, but I would encourage you, if you're a new trader, to forget about winning. Just forget about making money and focus on your losses, which again goes back to Lori's comment about risk management. I am a huge believer that if you focus on how much money you're going to make, then you're going to lose everything because you're not focusing on the downside. In my experience, personally, as soon as I started focusing on my losses and making that the most important part, that's when trading started to get better for me. And when I drop my guard and I focus on the winners, that's usually when I get hit again with big losses. So just focus on the losses. So yeah, risk management, losses, have a plan. And the other part, Lizzie, is about psychology. I would encourage you to listen to a lot of different people, but never take for granted what they say. In my experience, anybody who's on a program giving you financial advice or encouraging you to buy something, like a Jim Cramer always telling you to buy these stocks, you got to think he's got an ulterior motive. I don't, because I don't sell anything. I'm not trying to get you guys to buy the stocks I'm in. I'll show you trades that I'm in. I'll tell you when they expire. I'll tell you the strike prices, and totally up to you what you want to do with it. But I know what my plan is. I know my rules, etc. So trust no one. I believe that the only thing that could be even remotely close to corruption, like we see on all facets of politics, is the financial markets. And in many cases, I think they kind of interweave and go hand in hand. Politics and finances and money seem to work themselves together. But yeah, I think I approach markets as everyone's trying to steal my money, everyone's lying to me, and I need to pretend that they're all thieves. That way, if someone is a good, honest person and I experience that, then I'm happy about it. But if they're not, I've got the guard up and they're not getting through to me anyway. So pretend, just imagine everyone is trying to steal your money, and I'll think you'll be in a better place. Chris says, how to use volume for trading. So, as you guys know, I have a foe, someone I think is just a deplorable scumbag of a human being, trader out of Chicago. And and by the way, he's probably reaching out to all of you trying to solicit for his new business. It's always some new thing with him. But he would say that volume is unimportant. Means nothing. And I say total garbage. Volume, in my opinion, I'm honest, just send me your money here. Yeah, right. In my opinion, volume is just like this volume on your TV, right? If you keep it real low and kind of quiet, there's not a lot of excitement. People people aren't really excited about it, and there's not a lot of enthusiasm. But if I raise my voice, I would start screaming, but I don't want to start freaking people out. Imagine you take your stereo and go from volume 1, which is kind of hard to hear. You go to 3, and you're like, oh, this is perfect level. It's at 5, and you're kind of like, it's kind of loud in here. And now I dial that thing up to 11. I've maxed out. My eardrums are bleeding. I'm frustrated. I'm stressed out. That's when panic sets in. Volume to me is a reflection of that. Now, personally, I really like to trade when, volume's at a 5, when I've got, things moving and there's activity. When you get to those extremes, that's the recipe for disaster, because people get emotional when things get out of balance and get chaotic. You look at these markets, and let's go back to the FOMC announcement last week. Let's go back to, here's SPY, and we'll go back to last week. Here's last Wednesday when the FOMC came out. Volume actually has started to surge after that happened, right? Intraday, though, it's going to be a different chart. Let's go to a 5-minute time frame. I'll zoom out here, go back to that event when we saw, big swings back and forth. So there you go. Look at this right here. It tells you huge emotional surge. This is right at 11 o'clock when that 50 basis point cut was announced. That is a lot of emotion. People were just immediately buying with everything they had and just ripped it straight to the upside. Well, when you have that emotional surge, I love stuff like this, these big climactic spikes of volume, because typically this is where everyone panics, or in this case, they just got greedy, and everybody's trying to jump on it and buy that exact moment. Well, my mentor many years ago said the markets are like a subway, right? Subways aren't infinite, not a sandwich. I'm talking about the transportation vehicle. A subway will go from the end point of the track to the very other end point and make all the stops in between. Let's say there's 10 stops in the middle. Let me ask you guys this. In that analogy I just mentioned, subway station, and the train is at the very last stop, how many people are on board going the opposite direction at that moment in time? Do you think there'd be a lot of people on it? So the train has gone from my left all the way to the right, to the very last station, and is now turned around and is about to go from right all the way back to the end station left. How many people are on board at that moment in time? None. Maybe 1 or 2, but the reality is that train is not going to be full because it still has this whole track to pick up passengers before it gets to the other endpoint. And as it starts moving, it's picking up more and more people. And I look at stocks that same way. Momentum and excitement is people getting on board that train. And volume tells you how many people are getting on that train. So if that train reaches the end station and volume is surging, you got all these people stuck on a train going nowhere. There's not enough people to push it back to higher prices. Now, just because you have a high surge in volume like we saw here at this FOMC announcement doesn't mean it's guaranteed to come back down the other way, right? It could certainly keep on going. But the more volume surge that comes in, at some point, there's not going to be enough buying to continue pushing it higher, and it's going to fall apart. So I like, personally, one of my things I like to do is I like to go out and look at daily time frames. As you guys all know, that's my starting point for almost all my trades. Go out here and look at our current markets. All right, so here we are. Liz, all the drunk people who slept the outbound journey forgot to get off. Yes, I think I may have done that once or twice, Liz. Italy was fun. I went for almost 5 years with no car, riding the subway and buses every single day. I think I did fall asleep on them a couple times. So I'll run through, let's go through my 1% portfolio stuff, which is these ETFs. And these typically aren't going to have giant climactic volumes, but if we zoom out here, you guys can see where did markets turn? Well, right here, this huge sell-off that happened in April of this year, we had one of the largest spikes, and it reversed in hindsight. Of course, we know everything. Same here in August, had this massive sell-off. It was really high spikes of volume, and all of a sudden ripped the other direction. Right now, I don't see any climactic, super high spikes of volume, which would cause me to believe this is going to go the other way. So when it comes to consumer discretionary, fine. Trend could probably still keep going. I'm just going to real quickly run through and see if anything here looks like it's peaking. So how about utilities? If you look at what's going on with utilities, you have this huge surge of volume on last Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Today, much lower, but man, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, massive surge up in volume. Does that mean it's going to turn? Well, look at the price chart. we talked about, a great looking trend. This thing looks fantastic at this moment in time. And this is such a gorgeous uptrend. I mean, like, frame it. You don't see this too often. So even though this has climactic volume, there's nothing here that tells me, oh, this is it, we're collapsing. So I would move on. Let's go out here. I'm just trying to find anything that might be an outlier. And I don't see anything on here that jumps off the screen at me. Now, they changed their watch list, unfortunately, guys. They have all these cool little, they had a bunch of different filters here, but I haven't been able to dial in there. Let's go sort descending. Okay, so we'll go through here, and bear with me as I just kind of look at different symbols and see if I find anything that's got climactic volume. NVIDIA, no climactic volume today. I had to delete this line because my options expired there. Intel, gotta love the news today on Intel. We're breaking out of that sideways channel. Intel could be poised for a nice big rally here. Tesla should have had much higher volume today, in my opinion. It's just really breaking out, coming up in overhead supply on Tesla, but volume looks decent. There's nothing out of the ordinary. You can run scans and filters for volume outliers, like you saw here on Palantir. Their volume spike on Friday was like 8 times normal. Its normal average everyday volume is like, I don't know, it looks to be about, let's say, 25 to 30 million. And you had 450 million on Friday. Huge, of course, news driven. And typically that leads to a reversal. Did we get it? Didn't happen. Right? So even though you might get some of these reversal candles off of volume, it doesn't mean it's going to reverse. Here you have a good example where it actually did reverse. So you had the giant spike of volume on Apple on Friday's session, and now we're getting some follow through to the downside. It was a shooting star, double top shooting star on Apple, and you had really high volume. I mean, this is one of those ones here where it's like the odds just get better and better and better. And let's play devil's advocate here and go to this day right here. Let's forget that Friday happened, right? If you look at this picture, you're looking at it thinking, okay, well, we're now coming back up into a double top. We're coming back up to this area from August 29th. It might be an area of supply coming up towards it, so maybe I'll go short there. And now you're left at the end of the day with this, a shooting star formation on volume that's like 3 to 5 times higher than normal. I mean, we talked about this the other day. The rule would be put a line right below the low of that candle. Once you get below it, you got a short opportunity. You would currently be short on Apple based off that shooting star formation and climactic volume. So, I mean, I could go kind of keep going back and forth on this one. But yes, I'm a big fan of volume. I think that, Chris, volume should be studied. I think it represents emotion. And if you look at some of the most incredible profilers on the planet, I would say it's the Mossad and Israeli kind of secret service forces. Their statistics for hijackings and terrorist stuff on their airlines, some of the best. Why? Profiling. You can see people's emotions, their demeanor, how they carry themselves, what they look at. All of that analysis for us, and from their perspective as airport security and things like that, that helps them. And I'd argue that our job is to do the same thing. Unfortunately, I can't look someone in the face. All I can look at is these candles, which in reality are the results of thousands of faces making each one of these candles, right? Traders, buyers, and sellers happening all the time. So I'm a full-on believer that we need to profile and we need to analyze these things. I love this pattern by itself. As of Friday, I'd be looking at this going, oh man, if I could just trade Apple, gorgeous. And then the volume there just adds more confirmation that people just got way overextended. They overdid it. They got too joyous. Ended on a weak note. Boom. Could be a much bigger down move. So that's volume in a nutshell. Of course, we could spend a lot of time going deeper and deeper and deeper into volume and how to utilize it. And maybe that's something we'll do down the road. But yeah, I'm a big fan, Chris. I love when I see a hammer or a shooting star, which are two of my favorite candlestick formations. By themselves, I love them. You add on climactic volume to that, and it's like, hallelujah. Do they always work? No. Nothing always works. I like that. Nothing always works. It's just probability. And again, you could flip a coin, pick any stock, and say, okay, if it's heads, I go long, tails, I go short. And just pick anything. Let's go. I'm going to just type in a symbol I haven't looked at in forever. Is it SRSL? It's still around? No. How about, try to think of something I haven't seen. AT&T. I never look at AT&T. Heads, I go long. Tails, I go short. So here's AT&T. Heads, I go long. I'm probably going to do okay going long here simply because the trend has been to the upside. Now, of course, if I add in climactic volume and other factors there, I may steer those odds in my favor just a little bit more. The fact that we had climactic volume on the low point here is great. That also gives the argument for a more upside move here for AT&T. So if we have a 50-50 chance as traders, I believe you can still make good money if you flip a coin in trading. And the reason for it is you flip a coin, heads or tails. If it's going in the direction of the trend, your odds are in your favor already. Now, if you have let's say a 3-to-1 reward to risk ratio, then over time, if you're going with the trend, you'll probably do well over the course of time. You're going to have a lot of losing trades along the way, but that should balance out with some nice big winners because of the trend, either up or down, that you're going with. So, there was a bearish Rami on Tesla on Friday, but it went up today. Let's go look at TSLA. I hope I answered that question for you, Christopher. I know I went off the rails a little bit on that one. Yeah, you totally had a bearish Rami, but Lori, this again is why do we have rules, right? If I was on the show on Friday with you guys, I would have looked at this and said, "Oh, guys, you got a bearish Rami. There's two ways you trade it. You put a line below the low of that day, which would have been below 235.92, and say if it breaks below that, I'm going to go short, right? I mean, I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible, and all your trades should be as simple as possible. So that's your plan. And your stop loss, put it up above the high of that Harami. So your entry would be if it breaks down below 235.92, stop loss is at 244.25. There you go. You've got a $9 stop loss. That's a lot. So trade enough shares. If you only lose $100, then trade 10 shares. There you go. And if it doesn't meet your parameters, well, what loss was it to you? It wasn't a loss. Maybe a loss of your analysis time, right? But so far, great. This probability said this should have come down, but it didn't. And this is why we have to be flexible and have rules. Love it. Volume is a little confusing, but I appreciate your answer. Well, in what way is it confusing, Chris? Let me know, and I'll try to elaborate on more. Yeah, Oliver, that's a bearish Harami, the bearish Harami on that Tesla. And there's a phrase that every trader needs to know, and that's everything works until it doesn't. If you look at the statistical probability, which is why I like the question that I received about what trading books I like. The Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns by Bukowski goes through the statistical probability of a bearish Harami in dozens of different circumstances. And typically, it's fairly positive. But does it always work? No. Nothing always works, which is why we have to set those rules. And, my rules are a little bit different than some of the textbooks ones, but in regards to candlesticks, like hammers and shooting stars. But it's all designed to put those odds in my favor, and hopefully that will help you guys out as well. Okay. So a little bit, I'm not going to go into all the details of I'm not solid yet on all the details. However, I was going to go through a change of workplace environment. I had about 5 other different offers on the table to go work for somebody else and do a bunch of different stuff. And I analyzed all of them. It went from financial advisor firms to financial planning firms to trading companies to you name it. And it was nice to kind of see what was out there, but it boils down to, what I'm passionate about. And there's been some, I'll say high level. So there's been some significant changes in the leadership and the people who are running Trading Academy for the better by miles and miles of an order of magnitude. And because of that, I am going to stay with Trading Academy and really work extremely closely with some of my good friends at making it the #1 financial school on the planet. That was the initial goal. Unfortunately, we had some greedy people in there that I think ruined it for everybody. So we're taking a step back from that and really kind of creating some, hopefully, new innovative things, taking some different directions, becoming a bit more active on social media and things like this. So I know there were some of you who were really concerned that I was leaving Trading Academy. I was actually really considering it. And it's tough after giving 27 years almost of my blood, sweat, and tears to an individual and an organization. But, Yeah, no, I'm staying, and I'll be honest, I couldn't be happier. One thing that's great about me staying with Trading Academy is they're okay with me doing this show. Now, just so you know, my priority will be building content and materials for Trading Academy. So I'm going to be pretty busy. I'm going to be back in the classroom. I'm going to be doing, I'll be doing a minimum one class a month. So I'll be teaching core strategy, and I may be coming around to your centers as well, which is great. I know there's not as many centers as there used to be, but I'll be doing some core strategy teaching once a month. And then what we're going to be working on is actually doing cryptocurrency, physical on-location classes here going forward, because I think it's a pretty important topic, and it might be nice to come to some of your centers and see you. So that's some of the update. When I can, maybe I'll give you a little bit more clarity on what has transpired, but I assure anybody here who is on the Trading Academy student, you guys should be really excited. You should be very excited. I think it's a good thing for those that are students. I remember I'm a graduate as well. It's funny because Benno, you always ask me, he says, wait, you're looking for a job? You? One of the best traders out there? I wouldn't say I'm one of the best traders out there. So Ben, you've asked this one before, and let me touch on this one because I think it is important. I think you mentioned a couple weeks back in the chat, you said, why are you working full-time, or why are you looking for other work? Why don't you just trade full-time? There's two reasons why. Number one is if I just trade, I feel like my learning slows down. And let me explain that. I know it sounds weird. I'm one that likes to always be learning. I feel like I want to, if I make it to my 100th birthday, I still want to be learning something new, whether it's a language, an art, a technology. I want to be learning. I feel like I don't want to be stagnant watching boring TV all the time of reality shows and garbage that I think wastes your mind. I want to be learning. So when I teach and I'm doing things like this for you, which I do for free every day, I'm researching, I'm studying, I'm learning. It keeps me engaged. It keeps me connected to the pulse of the markets. Plus, I get to learn more and make myself feel better. So number one is I'm constantly learning. The second one is I have just traded before where it's like I'm not working at all. I find that very difficult because now you have this added pressure of I need this to survive. I have to make this work. I cannot make mistakes. And then you start to trade with scared money. So by having a full-time or a part-time job, or basically saying I'm relying on my income stream, so I don't touch any of my trading profits. I haven't for a long time. I just keep growing and compounding. It's the job, if you will, so teaching and building content, that income stream is what I live off of. So I have zero stress on my trading, which actually I think makes me a better trader because I don't think about it as like, oh man, I can't lose on this one. I'm going to lose. So what? So I think it's important to have an outlet, a job. Otherwise, I would sit in front of my screen and I would sit there all day, which I don't really want to do. I'd rather go out and do other things than just sit in front of a monitor all day and watch price charts tick back and forth, hoping to find a trading opportunity. So maybe I give you three answers there on that one, which is, number one, I want to educate myself. Number two, I need to get away from the screen, separate a little bit. And the third one is I don't want to put the stress on myself where I have to make these trades work. Otherwise, I'm taking food off my table, right? And I think some of you might be in that situation. I think some of you are like, I'm just trading full time and it's a bit more stressful. And I just take that stress off me. Plus, I like working with people like Larry Jacobson and Todd Davis and Jordan Matthews. I mean, these are great people. I enjoy working with them. The good news is, at least from my perspective, the vast majority of people that I did not like and had issues with are going to be gone. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Thank you, Margaret. I appreciate that as well. Teaching is a way of learning. Rod, I would say teaching is the best way of learning. If you look at the opportunity that I was given back in the late 90s, which was I was struggling as a trader. I knew what I was supposed to do, but I was so arrogant and I thought I was better than everybody else in the market. I beat everybody. I was losing money. And so they gave me this opportunity, said, teach the class. And I said, but I'm losing money right now. Teach. You know what you're supposed to do. You're just not doing it. So if you teach that to somebody, say, hey, watch your stop losses. Better have a plan in place. You teach that to people. It solidifies your strategy, your risk management. So yeah, I think teaching is absolutely critical for you to continue to grow and reinforce your discipline. So, for those of you out there that are trading, maybe there's some opportunities for you as an educator. I'm pretty sure as we grow this, we'll be looking for more and more people that are successful at trading and investing and would like to help others out along the way. All right. Exactly. Yeah, Liz. What's going to happen to Liz is there's going to be 1 week a month where I'm going to be not doing a show. So it's like my what is it? The National Guard. I got my 1 week in a month. My 1 week a month where I'll be teaching a class. Right now, I think it's going to be the next two. I'll be doing November and December locally, but I'm going to try to get to all the centers. I really want to go to all the centers and spread the love around, because we got a lot of faithful OTA I always make this Trading Academy students. Then it's Trading Academy now. It's not an online Trading Academy. It's Trading Academy. A lot of people out there that have been big fans of the system and been struggling, and hopefully we can help you get past that and get on the right track. When I first started teaching, I was told, you don't know your subject matter. Yeah, I like that too. I thought I knew my subject matter, but I think the teaching role has certainly put me on another level. Especially when you're in a teaching environment, and I'm sure you guys have all been sitting in these Trading Academy classrooms, and you're asking questions. Very rarely is there an instructor that will be able to field every single question from everyone. When I get those questions, which is rare, I'm pretty good at what I do as an educator and as a trader. If I don't know it, I'm going to go find out, and I'll find out those answers for you, which again adds to at least my personal joy of learning some subject matter on the way. Will you do a core class online? I might, Jeff. No, yeah. I need to know what I can and cannot say on that thread. So let me just make sure I don't say anything incorrect. I want to make sure I have the right talking points. But we'll talk about that down the road. Just know that nothing's changed other than a lot of people have left, and there is a much more skeleton crew. And the crew that's there are the people who, in my opinion, which is why I decided to stay with them, they're the ones that really give a crap about success. They're like, all we want is these people to get it and learn and become successful traders. Because if you make it, then we look better as an entity. Then you're going to go tell your family and friends about it. And that just kind of feeds this cycle that would help the company grow. So I'll answer all those at another time. No, Sean I think he went with Wealth Builders. I think he's at Wealth Builders. And same with Brandon. I think Brandon Wendell's at Wealth Builders. You have... a lot of people went different ways. It was an unfortunate event, this whole FTC thing. Really it was eye-opening at how a small group of Karens, no offense to anybody here named Karen, but a small group of Karens were complaining about something and went and reported it. And, there were 7 people that filed the complaint with the FTC. We got 14,000 letters from students saying, don't take this away. I love Trading Academy. This has helped me immensely, and I'm one of them. I didn't write the letter, but I would be one of them that definitely wrote it. I don't know where Tom Jenkins went. Nope. There's a ton more competition, Margaret, and that's what makes it very difficult. It's very difficult because there is a lot more competition. For me, it doesn't impact me as much as a student anymore because I don't need to take classes anymore. I trade. It's what I do. But I think in someone in your shoes, you have a lot of different things to think about when you're looking at where do I go. There are some good instructors who have left us, and they're a one-person shop. Do you get support? Do you get a lot of hand-holding? Do you get a lot of coaching? Do you get picks? Do you get what services come with one individual? It's hard. We as Trading Academy, it's setting up all the different support units. So you have trading support, you've got classroom support, you've got office hours, you've got XLTs, you have all these ways that you can engage in that community and get better. So, that to me was another one of the deciding forces, is not only to get to work with people that I believe have integrity and honor and really want to do the right thing, but knowing that there's this giant constituency of students who need that help along the way. I'm right there with you, Daniel. And again, I'm a student from 1998. That's a long time ago. All right, I was gonna do a quick market overview, but I'm not gonna do that. I want to get out of here before an hour show. That's my rule. By the way, tomorrow John Rowland on the program, and on Wednesday Tom Schneider, which are both going to be great shows. If you have things you want me to ask either one of them, email me, TraderMerlin@gmail.com, send them in that way, or going into any of the YouTube pages down below, sign it in there, and we'll get your questions answered. As far as markets go, I mean, it was a quiet day for the indexes. You had, let's just bring up the markets here. You had crude oil. Did it really do much? No. I'm going to get volume off my screen. Crude oil didn't do much. Russell, only thing Russell's doing is following through from the double top, actually triple top that it formed back here, right? So that's a little bit of weakness going on there. Your 10-year, we saw that yield move back up over the last week, which is fine, but hey, that trend is still down, lower and lower and lower. Yeah, Margaret, I took a class in June of 1998. June 1st of 1998 was my first class of OTA. Can you believe that? We could talk about that at another length. That was a good one. Here's the chart that I'm the most interested in right now, honestly, other than the strength of the S&P, and that is the dollar index. Dollar index is just sticking in that yellow box. It's really, really interesting to me how long this will hold here. It feels like it's getting weaker and weaker, and a breakdown below this is going to be bullish for our market. So it kind of coincides, S&P's hitting the tops, well, dollar's hitting the lows. So I think the dollar is the one that's going to be driving that bus. Gold, all-time highs yet again. Boy, guys, I didn't modify this chart. I didn't. And it's funny because after the fact, people are like, oh, well, you just moved those lines around. No, we said if it breaks, it's going to retest and then have a nice move to the upside and most likely continue. Well, it did exactly, almost to the picture. I literally had this line right here, and it tiptoed down and tailed down into it, retested on Wednesday. Love it. It's actually moving up faster than I thought it would. But anyway, gold up 0.24% today. NASDAQ, even though you guys are going to get a 1 hour show, let me fix this one up here. NASDAQ up 0.26%, kind of stuck in that range. Now, for anybody here who's bullish, the fact that we've stayed here for 2 days like this is actually very bullish. There's no panic coming in, no profit taking, no sell-off happening yet. So this is, from a bullish perspective, good news for you NASDAQ traders. I would still adhere to this yellow box and wait for a breakout up or down below it and then make your trades there. S&P, same thing. All right, you got kind of stuck at all-time highs here. Love it. And then, of course, Bitcoin. A shooting star today, had actually back-to-back shooting stars on the CME futures here from Friday's session and today. All in all, I still think that the corner has been turned on Bitcoin. Remember, I was saying mid-September to early October at the latest, and we may get that move now. So there we go. All right, we broke the 1 hour rule. Big Eb, yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, VB, I wanted to talk about DJT. I'll just bring up the chart here. I love it. I love the fact we talked about getting out of DJT before Donald Trump's shares get unlocked. His shares are now unlocked. And he said, I'm not going to sell my shares. Well, apparently somebody is, because DJT is just about at an all-time low. All right, back here is where it was a SPAC, right around $10. I think its all-time low is like $9.80, and we're pretty darn close to that. So pretty good one. We do a show on gaps. Yeah, I could do a show on gaps. Gaps are tough because you got to create so many visuals, and yeah, I'll try. Give me some time to get that one together, and I'll give it a go. Anyway, 1 hour show in the books, guys. Tomorrow, John Rowland from barchart.com. Wednesday, we're going to have Tom Schneider on the program from Ninja Trader. If you get a chance, you should check out their show as well. They put on a pretty good production. Again, I'm envious of the support team they have over there to make it all work. That said, hope you guys have a Steve's worst DJT ever. I could do it better. Just kind of came up to the end. I actually have a pretty decent Trump impersonation. All right. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. If you have questions, comments, things you want me to cover on tomorrow's show with John Rowland, email me, TraderMerlin@gmail.com. Take care. See you tomorrow.